Stop trying to make a bunch of money the first year you farm. I know that sounds crazy. It might be the worst business advice ever. You might be yelling at the screen or just ready to click off this video, but stick with me. Here's the thing. The farmers that are crushing it in year 5, they barely broke even in year 1. The ones who pushed hard for profits and to make a bunch of money in day 1, most of them are gone. And after interviewing so many farmers over the years, I've discovered the counterintuitive truth that people have a hard time wrapping their head around. The first year you farm, it isn't about revenue. It's about building your intellectual capital. And if you don't understand the difference, you're already failing at business. More on that coming up on the Urban Farmer Rewind. Thanks for watching. I'm Diego, Diego. I'm a farm podcaster. I've talked to hundreds of farmers, and I'm sharing my knowledge with you in these videos to help make your farming journey on the business side a little bit easier. I want to teach you something that they don't teach you on Instagram or in a lot of online courses or in a lot of other YouTube videos. Every business has 2 phases, the learning phase and the earning phase. Mix them up and you're dead. Think about any successful business model. Tech startups burn through millions learning their market before monetizing. Restaurants do soft openings. Even McDonald's tests products years before scaling them up. Farming is no different, except most farmers skip the learning phase entirely and they jump straight into, this is how much money I need to make. How can I do it as fast as possible without understanding any of their unit economics, their true costs, their market dynamics, or really even knowing what they're doing? And the brutal truth is, in business terms, your first year is R&D, research and development, not revenue and desperation. Now, I'm not saying lose a bunch of money on purpose. I want to make that clear right up front. We do want to try and break even and make as much money as we can so we're not in a huge hole. It's not just burning money here, but we are not trying to get rich. We're not trying to have year 10 revenue in year 1. That's the key. Keep that in mind as we move on. Here's what happens when you chase revenue before you chase knowledge. On a farm, you might plant 40 different crops because more variety means more sales, right? Wrong. You can't just create 40 different experiments and you can't properly track all 40 things at once. In business, this is the complexity cost, and it could be killing your future operation or your current operation for some of you. If you take every market opportunity that comes up, a Saturday farmer's market, farm stands, restaurant deliveries, you might sound productive, sound well diversified, sound like you're making it, but you might be destroying your ability to analyze which channel actually makes you more money. That's called channel confusion, and Fortune 500 companies often fail because of it. Complexity is a big problem. Scaling brings complexity into a business. And a lot of people think, well, it's just one more crop, but every time you plant one additional crop, that's one more crop to learn how to grow. You have to learn the pests, the diseases, how to optimize it, the spacing, the soil conditions, the fertilization. It's a huge list. It's easy to place the order for the seed. It's hard to execute. And Curtis Stone explained this perfectly when I talked to him doing The Urban Farmer back in week 26.
There is so much that you need to learn about your area for growing. And if you're too busy just cranking to catch up, to meet orders coming in, to get stuff together for the farmer's market, to get out and harvest before the weather, you're just always running and running and running, and you don't have time to stop and really assess things and evaluate things, then you're going to miss out on a lot of critical knowledge that you should learn a lot of in your first couple of years of farming.
The knowledge that he's talking about, That's your competitive advantage many times. Without it, you're just another farmer racing to the bottom on price. Here's what most farmers don't calculate: opportunity cost. Every hour you spend chasing an extra $20 at a market is an hour you didn't spend understanding why your business failed in field block 3 or why this customer is so upset. Here's an example. Year 1, rushing for revenue. You make $30,000 but learn nothing. Year 2, you repeat the same mistakes and maybe you hit $35,000. Year 3, you're still grinding, maybe $40,000 if you're lucky. Let's look at the other side. Year 1, optimize for learning. You make $15,000, but you document everything. You know your cost per square foot, your hours of labor per crop, your actual profit margins. Year 2, you drop 20% of your crops that are eating up 80% of your time. Revenue jumps up to $35,000 with a much reduced workload. Year 3, you've optimized your systems and you're making $60,000 on the same land. That compounding knowledge beats linear effort every single time. This is something I have to do in a product business. I run Modern Grower. We sell tools, supplies, and seeds to market farmers. And there's been many times where I think, oh, I'll just sell this. And sometimes I get too much. You make a mistake, you buy too much of something, and then it takes a long time or a lot of money to get out of that mistake. When I've learned the much better path is dabble, test a little bit, see if people like it. If they do a little bit more and learn the process, learn the product, learn the market as I build. I would rather tell somebody I don't have it, I'm sold out, than have 100 times too much and I can't find anybody who wants to buy it. Be careful of scaling too quick without learning and adding all that complexity. This is the basic approach that Curtis took up in BC when he started his urban farm 10 plus years ago. He treated year 1 like a beta test, and here's how you can copy his model. Week 1 is action. Create a learning infrastructure. This is where you're going to start tracking data, you're going to start tracking weather, and you're going to document it in spreadsheets and with photos. Week 2, define your test plots. You're going to pick a few crops to start with. You're going to dedicate a small area to use for experimentation. That's your lab. You're going to plant one crop, a variety of different ways to test, and you're going to document what works best in your exact context, your microclimate, your soils, etc. The first month, you're going to start building a unit economics tracker. You're going to start timing yourself, doing everything, record yields, calculate your revenues per square foot, and you're going to use that to make decisions to guide future productions. It's no longer just, oh, this is what feels good inside. We're letting the spreadsheet tell us which direction we want to go. Curtis discovered that when he was growing lettuce. He was making $45 an hour, while his tomatoes were making $8 an hour. Guess which crop he dramatically scaled back in year 2? Tomatoes. This pairs with a business principle that'll change how you think about farming, and that's human capital depreciation. What is that? That's crazy. It's as simple as this. Your body is a business asset. You're the operator of your business, and your body is required to execute the tasks of the business. And every year you grind without building systems, you're depleting that asset without building others. It's like running a delivery business and never maintaining your truck, except you can't buy a new body when you can buy a new truck. A 30-year-old farmer who learns proper systems has 30 years of productive capacity ahead. A 30-year-old who just grinds might be burned out by 40 and broken by 50. In accounting terms, you're accelerating depreciation on your primary asset, your body, without building the intellectual property to replace it. That's not farming. It's a countdown to disaster, to business failure, to bankruptcy. You got to take care of yourself, and you have to put these systems in place early and build this knowledge very early on. Now it's homework time. Here is an exercise you can do right now to start to get a handle on where do you need to be financially with your business to make this all work. Exercise 1 is find your real break-even point. I'll put the instructions up on the screen. The whole key here is you're coming up with a monthly survival number, the amount of money you need to survive every single month. And if your farm can't consistently generate this amount of revenue by year 3, then you don't have a business plan and you should really think about not going forward anymore. Exercise 2 is the time audit. Start looking at everything you do during the week, timing it, tracking it, and then let's go back on the weekend and identify where you're losing a bunch of time. One farmer might discover that they spent 6 hours weekly at a farmer's market that just generated $120 in profit. That's $20 an hour before considering gas, vehicle wear and tear. They could switch to a CSA and maybe triple that hourly rate. It's just an example, but it's giving you an idea of what you can do with all this data. Exercise 3 is the knowledge gap list. It's something you can easily do today. And it's write down 10 questions you can't answer about your business. Not sure where to start? Think about questions like these. Each question you can't answer confidently and completely is costing you money. Make answering them a priority in your first year or this upcoming year. If you have questions about your business, whose responsibility is it to find the answers after all? It's yours. And why don't you know those answers anyway? To put all of these ideas into action, here's a 90-day learning sprint with a step-by-step roadmap of things you can do in the first month, the second month, and the third month to try and move your farm and your business in the right direction. Hopefully, if you do this by day 90, you'll know more about your farm's economics than most farmers know about their farm in years. If you're still with me at this point in the video, you have some decisions to make. And the key is you have to look at farming like any other business venture. You have 3 options. You can treat your farm as a subsidized lifestyle, hobby farming. It's financially fine if you're honest about it. I farm, it's fun. If I make a little money, if I lose a little money, great. It's a farm, it's a hobby, it's not a business. Option 2 is restructure your farm for profitability. And this requires you learning a ton about the business and about your business before you start to really earn money. Option 3, exit before you're forced to. Sometimes this is the smartest business decision. It's to walk away. I've had to do this with product lines. I had to do this with a conference that I threw many years ago. It just wasn't working financially, and it wasn't a total failure, but I have a feeling if I had kept up trying to do it, I would have been digging myself into a deeper and deeper financial hole. So in reality, it was better to walk away and stick around, and that's exactly what I did, even though it was hard and it hurt, and it was a little bit embarrassing. But many years later, it was the right move. Hopefully, you're resonating with the take-home message of this video. Work to learn, not to earn. That's not just farming advice. It's the difference between building a business and buying yourself a job, which are very different things. At the end of the day, the numbers don't care how much you love farming, how much good you're doing for the community, the food system, the soil, any of that. But if you learn your numbers, you can farm profitably for decades instead of burning out in a few years, and you can accomplish all those goals of changing the food system and feeding people and doing amazing things. But you have to be financially sustainable. In order to do that, you have to learn how to run a business first. Remember, your first year farm success is not measured in revenue. It's measured in how much you learn. It's measured in how many questions you get answered. Because once you have the answers, the revenue will follow. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to listen to the full-length podcast episode that inspired this video, check out Season 1, Week 26 of The Urban Farmer right here on this YouTube channel. If you're still with me, I'd love to know what you thought about this one. Drop a comment below. Thanks for watching, and until next time, be nice, be thankful, and do the work.